What's up, everyone? Today we have a really quick job. At least I hope it's a really quick job. This is my uncle's 2011 GMC Sierra. Now, he brought it down to a shop, and I guess there's a bit of an issue with something involving one of the wires inside the seat for the airbag. So he asked if I could take a look at it, and while I have it out, he got us all the things we're going to need to replace the fabric on these seats. Now, he doesn't need it back tomorrow, so we're going to go ahead and see if we can knock this out today and troubleshoot why he's getting that issue with the airbag. Now, because I don't want to get hit in the face with the airbag, what we're going to do first is we're going to disconnect the battery. Also, we're going to bring it inside because, one, it's slippery as all hell, and not the whole truck, just the seat. It's slippery as all hell, and it's pretty cold out today. So first thing we need to do, disconnect the battery. Actually, scratch that. The first thing you need to do is get those 4 bolts out. So let's go ahead and put this back on. I mean, you're going to definitely want to have the battery disconnected when you go ahead and disconnect the connectors so you don't accidentally trip the airbag. But you got to take those bolts out first. So we'll go and take that back off in just a minute. And our target here is not to slip and fall. But we have 2 bolts in the back, just like any other seat you're really going to encounter, and 2 in the front. Right now, the seat is moved all the way forward so we can get the 2 in the back. Then we'll move the seat backwards, take the 2 front ones out, and then we'll disconnect the battery. Now, the seat covers are in the house warming up, and I was planning on bringing the seat in there, but I don't really want to take this seat buckle off this. I just kind of want to leave it as it is. So all we did, we killed the power to the seat. It's not going to go anywhere. We're going to go ahead and remove the seat where it sits, and we're going to take the seat covers off right here. They're going to be pretty straightforward. If I'm moving around a lot, it's because, like I said the other day, the snow all melted, and it is a sheet of ice right here. But the back is going to be pretty straightforward. The front, we have to actually tip the seat backwards, move my toolbox out of the way, give me a little bit more room to work here. And then underneath here, I'll bring you over here so you guys can see. Over here, we're going to have all kinds of wonderful stuff. Here's our connector plug. We're going to go ahead and disconnect that. And that's going to be like a standard one. Oh, got you guys. Standard plug, I generally find you push in a little bit. Oh, okay, I see how this one works. Pop it, and this should just come right out. There we go. So you have, I always like to help it over the little lip, but there's a back part of this right here where you push that in. Now that that's out, I don't see, well, we do have more cables. One going right here, if you guys can see it. So we need to disconnect that. Once that's disconnected, you guys can see it better than I can. Okay. All right, that gave me a little bit of a fight. So you're going to push this top part of the clip in, and it's really kind of hard where it is. It helps if you take the little shroud off of it. But once you get that out, you could technically take the seat out. I just don't feel like, actually, let's see. If we move this over a little bit, will we be able to gain access? Where's my little screwdriver? There it is. If we can get access to this little panel, maybe we will be able to bring it inside. Oh, no, doesn't open that way. All right, so it looks like we can actually easily pull this entire belt assembly out. So we're going to do that because it's a lot warmer inside. So you have a single clip right here on the back side and another one over a little bit here. You have to kind of squish your fingers up inside there, and then just pops right off. Remember, when you take these off, there are torque specifications online. Go search them up. Make sure you torque these back down, same as the bolts holding this chair on. We want to make sure that these are back to a proper torque specification. They are safety equipment, and you don't want someone ejecting out of your vehicle. So let's go ahead, take that off, bring it inside, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we have it inside where it's a lot warmer, and I can easily work on this without my fingers freezing up on me. So the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to remove the headrest. You can do so by pushing this button in on the side here, and then you have a little tiny spot right here. It looks like a pinhole, and I'd say probably a 1/16 of an inch pin will work. So you push that in like so, that one. And once you feel a click, this should come right out. Now that we have that out of the way, we're going to have to do a couple other things so that we can take this off. But we're going to just lay this down, and we're going to remove the bottom first. Now we've gone through, I can't find any wires underneath here that would be causing issues with an airbag sensor. So I'm assuming that the problem is not in the seat itself. And that's pretty much where we're going to leave that. We don't want to start digging apart the whole truck. Just... I'll look on the floor before we put the seat back in. Maybe it's there, but nothing inside the seat would be giving an idea that the airbag is no good, or wires are damaged inside here. Now you do have 2 bolts, one right over here and one right over here. If you follow this bar, that's where you'll find those 2 bolts. You need to take those off. That actually opens up this whole like thing right here. And then we're going to go ahead and see if we can't get the 2 bolts that are above this section right here. If we can get that, then we don't have to dismantle all kinds of crazy things. It'll make it a lot easier just to pull it apart. In order for us to do that, we got to flip this over here, and we need to remove this back plate, which I'll do, and I'll be right back. It's pretty straightforward how you're going to remove the back of this. You're going to want to grab a good hold of this and push it down, and once you get it down far enough, it just comes right out, and there you go. Pretty straightforward, guys. Just be careful. Don't... I've seen a couple people online saying you pry on this where the clips are. Don't worry if you break them, because they sell them at the hardware store, or not the hardware store, the whatchamacallit place. Yeah, don't do that. You'll break it, and then you're going to be buying a part. So push it down, and it'll clear all the spots, and it just comes right out. So be careful. Don't listen to those guys. You'll really mess this thing up. So we don't want to do that. Now the next part, we're going to go ahead and just remove the seat itself, or seat cover itself. Pretty straightforward. The only thing we're going to run into is this right here, which we'll cover that in just a second. This will also, there you go. Now you're going to want to turn this around. It's one of the reasons why I put the plastic underneath it. It makes it slide a little better. And then this will just come right out like so. I'll leave the seat right on. I think we're going to end up taking the foam with it. So we have to be careful with the airbag stuff. We don't want to cause any issues with that. And then it's just a matter of popping out these parts right here, which just clip right in. Don't yarn on it. If you yarn on it, you'll rip the foam, and this job would have gotten a lot more expensive. So patience. Just got to get in there and get these clips, and just like that, you got to just keep doing that. So I'm going to go ahead, continue pulling this out. Once I have it all out, we'll go on to the bottom. Now, before I forget, these things right here, where your headrest goes through, they're actually fastened in. Oops, sorry guys. They're fastened in by what looks like little clips on their own. They're not little, they're actually kind of large. And they're really a pain. It works better if you have needle nose pliers, but I recently broke my last pair of needle nose pliers, so. Oh boy. So I'm going to fight with it a second, and then I'll show you what it looks like. So this is kind of what it looks like right here. It's kind of a pain to get these things squeezed. I have a feeling that there's a proper tool for it, but whew, she's not hard or not easy to get out, but it's out. This other one is really giving me a real hard time, but we're going to skip over that for just a second. The next thing we need to do in order for us to get this off, the actual old cover, is we're going to need to disconnect the airbag stuff so that I can weave it out of there. And how we're going to do that is just take these clips off one at a time. So we need to get this back plastic out of the way, like so. Yep. like that. And then it just pulls out of the way. And then you can see there's this little clips right here. We're gonna have to be very careful not to damage this, but it is kind of woven, that's the word, woven into the overall, not woven, yeah, it's intermingled with the foam and the whatever, you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm talking about. I'll move this so I can get it a little bit better. So we got one clip here, one clip right there, and then you fight with it because everything's got to be such a pain in the neck these days. Oh, I have to find my screwdriver. Oh, this will probably work. There's one. This one's gonna be a little bit harder. There we go. And bingo. Now be careful. This is your airbag stuff, so you gotta be very careful, very ginger. So this wraps around your actual airbag, which will be inside there. We're gonna leave that right alone. And then we're gonna gingerly work this right around that so I can take that out from the inside. But that's how you take the top part off. I'm going to go ahead and take this the rest of the way out. And once I have that out, we'll start working on the bottom. Now, a word of advice. Being an electrician, I'm used to it, is everything nowadays from panels to light fixtures are all razor sharp. Word to the wise, this is like razor sharp. And all it is just pressed steel. So all the edge breaks where they put it through the machining will slice you right open. But we're going to catch the inside of this clip like that. Push her down. Hopefully she, oh, there's a piece of wire right there. Hopefully she'll cooperate with us right now. Just like that. And once we have that out of the way, we should be able to expose our bolts, which are right on the other side of this. So we'll go ahead, get those taken off. This whole thing should come right out. Actually, you know what? We won't have to. So now that we have it exposed like this, I actually think we should be able to just push this through like this. Flip it. Use our long screwdriver. And then just remove all the different clips holding it on. So let me take care of that right quick and we'll be right back. As you can see, I wasn't able to get these last two clips with the seat attached. So all we're going to have to do right now is remove these last two clips and then just start putting it back together, which I'll just do a quick time lapse for it because it's just the reverse of what we just did. Now, something I really want to quickly point out is there's all different kinds of fasteners for this, depending on what vehicle you have. Some of them are Velcro, and some of them are these clips. And they're as long as you put them pretty much right where they belong, and you push those clips in, or you get the crease with the Velcro in, it'll be fine. It'll be self-explanatory. But I felt like I just needed to stop for just a second and quickly show that to you. Well, guys, wow, that is how you install a seat cover on an early 2010s, teens, whatever you want to call it, GMC, or Chevy, whether it's the pickup trucks or any of the other ones. It's pretty much all the same. It's very easy. The only real difference you might encounter with some of them is a different type of mechanism to hold it in the grooves, like between the bolsters and stuff like that. Be careful around any of the airbags. You don't want to damage them or anything like that. And as far as I can tell with this one, there's no damage unless the modular itself is bad, which there's no way for me to really test that. But as far as I can tell, the reason why they're getting a airbag light is not in the chair itself, but I'll look inside the truck, just in the general area. But I think it might be a sensor or something that might be wrong. Anyways, it's very simple. If you feel like you're wrestling the seat, then you're probably doing it right, and you're probably going to bleed a little bit. So I have a tendency of leaking. I have gloves around here that are supposed to be cut proof, but you know, putting them on is half the battle, and most of them are dirty. You don't want to use dirty gloves while working on nice seat upholstery. So I think this went together fairly well. We'll go ahead and bring it outside. We'll install it, and then we'll delint it and make sure it's not dirty and stuff. So when my uncle comes to pick up the car, he'll have a nice new seat cover. The only other thing is, you guys that are watching this right now, I want you guys to go check out Bradley's Building Junk. I think that's the actual. If I'm not mistaken, yes. He is a subscriber that joined the Facebook group, Lunar Outlaws Automotive Enthusiasts. Go check it out. And I found his car he's building on absolutely beautiful Camaro. And I think it's going to be really badass when it's done. His dashboard is just beautiful. If you like the attention to detail, I really recommend you go check him out. I'll put a link down in the description below. And just head over there and give him that subscribe. I would appreciate it. I think that we need more content builders like that. So also, I really have a place in my heart for muscle cars. Anywho, the only other thing we got to do now is to bring this out and install it. And quite honestly, guys, if you're looking for something like this, I don't know how expensive the actual parts were. He just bought it and brought it all over, but I'm sure it's a whole lot less expensive than bringing it to a place and doing it. There's nothing to it but to do it. I promise you. Other than you might bleed a little. In doing seat repairs, not a big deal. Definitely, if you're not the most handy person, you should be able to do it. And for you guys that I have a feeling most of you guys are veterans that working on cars, you already know. Go and do it. But man, this seat's comfortable. Hold on a second. I'm going to take a nice siesta. Just kidding. Okay, let's go ahead and get this thing installed because I was hoping to get some work done on the frame today, but I think we're going to go ahead and start dismantling the engine because we do have the engine mounts coming Monday, and I would like to install that in there so I can start getting an idea of the clearances. And also, there's just something about seeing an engine block in a frame other than just a bare frame sitting there. And Tuesday or Wednesday, we're going to start getting a whole bunch of suspension components. And I ordered the wrong year for the rear suspension stuff, but as far as I can tell, it's actually taller as far as the upright part is, not the rest of it. I don't know. I'll see what happens if I can play around with it. I'm kind of hoping it is a little bit taller because I want to have a more aggressive stance than the OEM stance. I'm going to have the front a little bit lower, and I want to have the back so that I can... There's going to be a lot of power going down to the rear end, and I want to be able to squat. So, I don't know. I think I might end up keeping the wrong year because as far as I can tell, it'll actually make it so it sits a little bit higher. And I think that would actually be good because as far as my understanding about geometry, about drag racing and stuff like that, you want it to be able to have that little bit of a squat. I usually build cars for autocross, so this is my first really potent car. Like 520 horsepower was my general build. So this is going to be new territory for me. And there's nothing more exciting than doing something you've never done before. And that's really the most important thing to me, is testing my own boundaries. And I think this will do it. But other than that, I think I've talked your ear off long enough. I think we're going to go ahead and put some coats on and install the seat. I don't think it should be much longer because I know he wants the truck back for tomorrow. And, well, I already have enough vehicles out there. Although I wouldn't mind having another truck, and you guys that are in the know what I'm doing. So, anyways, I think that's it. I think I've talked your ear off enough. Let's go ahead and brave the cold. You can tell I'm trying to postpone going back outside. that's it, guys. That's all it takes to change out one of these seats. It's very simple, it's straightforward, and when it's all said and done, you know, make sure she runs and everything, and bingo. Now the last thing is how I measure the difficulty level of a project. I have all my fingers and I only bled a little, so I would say this was a good day, very good day. So I already called him. He's ready to come pick it up whenever it's ready to come pick it up whenever he's ready, and that's it. That's all I have for you guys today. Have yourselves a wonderful day. Keep it shiny side up, and stay warm, everyone. Take care.